Welcome to the Word of Truth. This is Teacher D.H. Boone. Today's message is called, Why Do God Let Us Suffer? I know everyone at one time or another have asked God why. Why, God, if you love me, why do you let me suffer? Father, why do my life have to be so hard? Why do I have to go through these things, Lord? What have I done so bad, Lord, to bring this upon me? We all have had questions at one time or another to God, asking him why he let us suffer, why he won't step in and intervene. Well, God is a good God. And number one, God says that he chastised the one he loves. So just think about it. If you going down a road that's not correct and you doing something that you're not supposed to do, God will make sure he chastises you so you will know the right way to go. God loves us, and God let us suffer because he is perfecting us and getting the impurities out of us. If God don't allow us to go through things, how can we prove our loyalty and our faith to God? Just think about what Joseph went through. Joseph told his dreams to his brothers prematurely. Then that made his brothers sell him into slavery. Now he saw the dream that he was going to be above his brothers, but he didn't know what was going to happen in between. And see, God may show us some things that he's going to bless us with, or he may have someone prophesy to us and tell us what is going to happen. People's faith fail when they don't know what happens in between. See, God is a God that cannot lie, number one. And God don't have to tell us anything because he God all by himself. God say, if you love me, you must trust me and you must obey me. So we see that Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. So some people say, okay, he didn't do anything. He just told his brother his dream. So why did God let him suffer? God wanted to mature him. God wanted to get him ready for the position to be second into command to Pharaoh. See, Joseph could not mature in his father's house because he had his father's favor. So God had to get him away so he could mature, so God could do a work in him, so he could do a work later through him. And see, we see that Joseph was sold into slavery. He was sold into in charge of Potiphar's house. He was accused of rape. Then he ran away from that sin. Then he was thrown in jail. And we see he didn't complain one time. And see, that's what God expects us to do. If he told us the end, he's going to give it to us. But we have to trust him through the process as we going through that, because God is not going to give us something that we can't handle. God is not going to give us something that we're not ready for. So while we're going through these things, we may suffer. We may be uncomfortable. But God allowed us to suffer because he's trying to get all the impurities out. He want to test us. He want to see, are we loyal? Because people could say out their mouth each and every day what they'll do. Oh, I'm loyal. I've served God every day of my life. Oh, I'm going to make sure I put God first. Oh, I put God first. Then God say, okay, put your action where your mouth is. Let me see what you're going to do. Are you going to still be faithful? Are you still going to have faith in the midst of adversity? When you're suffering, when things hurting your flesh, it's because I am chastising you. Are you going to murmur and complain? Are you going to come to me? Are you going to leave me? Are you going to fall back into them old worldly ways? Because we must remember that God did say that Those who are friends of the world is an enemy to God. And he said, if you have the love of the world in you, then the love of God must not be in you. So therefore, God will remove people, places, and things out of your life in order to put you into position. A lot of people suffer in this area. It's because they don't want to let go. And then the enemy don't want to let go of the stronghold that he had on you. But God say that those that don't go weary in well doing in the midst of adversity, and those who don't give up will receive the blessing. See, people think that they could do what they want to do and God, show them what he gonna do and just God gonna do it. God say, no, you got to obey me. God, when we're not ready for something, God is not going to give it to us. And a lot of times people, they walk into stuff that God didn't tell them to go into. And then they wonder why things are hard and things are not working out for them. It's because they don't surrender to God 100%. Listen to him, listen to his commandments, listen to his instruction and his direction. We can't expect God to do certain things and we're not fulfilling our end of the bargain, which is to obey him and lead the consequences to him. We also suffer is because the world hate Christians. The worldly people, the people who's following the God of this world, do not like the people who are following the Lord, who have surrendered their life to the Lord. And see, it's going to be a struggle. And Jesus said, he predicted, he said, you are going to suffer for my sake. He said, but persevere. And if you make it to the end, you will get the crown of life. See, God is a God that cannot lie, and he will give us what he said. But we have to go through the things to get ready and get prepared. Just like the fire, we got to go through the fire. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego was put in the fiery furnace. God let them go in the furnace to see what they was made of, to see was they faithful, to see was they loyal. And they were tested and they passed the test because they said that they rather burn in the fiery furnace and die, lose their life, knowing that they stayed faithful to God and not giving in to that pagan life, that pagan God. So are you willing to go all the way for God to the end, if it means losing your life, rather than serve the God of this world? See, God is going to test people, and people just don't understand. God wants to see, are you truly genuine? Just like jewelers, how they test diamonds. They put a real diamond in there, then they put a fake diamond in there. Now, without doing the diamond test with water, you could look at a diamond, an imitation diamond and a real diamond, and it looks, you can't really tell the same. I mean, you can't really tell the difference. But when jewelers put it in the water, the diamond never loses its shine. It will continue to sparkle. But the imitation, it will lose their shine. So God tests us to see who genuine and who is who is imitating, who is not real, who is not genuine, who is not loyal. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to give up because you're suffering for the name of Christ and you're suffering, to prove yourself to God? Do you want to give up? Or are you pressing through and trusting him and keeping your eyes and mind on the Lord and standing on his word and not being moved by what you see in the natural. See, the enemy wants people to give up. That's why he encouraged you to look in the natural. So he will make you think that things are not happening the way God said it. If you see a finished product what God told you, it's going to happen. God is just not telling you what all you have to go through. See, we don't have to wait on God. God has to wait on us. See, he already have everything set up. But God is not going to give us something that we are not ready for. God is not going to give us something that we are not mature enough to handle. And we suffer is because we try to hold on to certain things that need to be taken away. And a lot of people, they cry about things that God have taken away. And some people get destroyed because God say, don't look back. He said, those who have their hands on the plow and looking back is not fit for the kingdom. That's what happened to Lot's wife. The angels of the Lord say, do not look back. Her heart was moving. Her body was moving, but her heart was still back there. It's a lot of people going through the motion, but their heart is still back there where God delivered them from. Their heart still want to be there. So God said, what's in a man's heart, so is he. She was destroyed. It's because God is a reader of heart. Her body was moving, but her heart was aching. Her heart wanted to stay back there in Sodom and Gomorrah. She liked that stuff being around her. She didn't want to move forward. That's why she was destroyed. That's why she was turned into a pillar of salt, because God say, do not look back. When God deliver you from a person, place, or thing, don't look back. A lot of times people bring things on themselves because God knows what's best for us. God said a companion of a fool will be destroyed, and bad association is not wise. So if God remove you from a person, place, or thing, God can see something that you can't. He know what's in the person's heart. He know the plans and the scheme that person have for you. The person ain't gonna just come up to you and say, I'm gonna stab you in the back. I'm gonna sleep with your husband. I'm gonna sleep with your wife. I'm gonna steal from you. I'm gonna talk about you. When you turn your back, I'm gonna stick it in and I'm gonna twist it. They are not going to tell you that, but God knows. God say, trust me. When I tell you to stop going to a place, stop going to. When I tell you to leave a person alone, leave them alone. When I tell you to stop doing a certain thing, stop. We have to trust God. God is a reader of heart. Excuse me. And he is our judge. That's why we don't need to judge nobody. Because God said, I'm a judge. When you start judging, then, hey, you going to be judged. Woo, Lord. Woo. We suffer because we have to get the impurities out of us. You know, just like fire refines, it could destroy, it refines too. It destroys all those impurities. And to get rid of all those impurities when we are sent through the fire like gold. And if God is allowing you to suffer, it's for a reason. God have a reason behind everything he does. But we have to trust him. If God said it, he meant it. He a God that cannot lie. He is not going to lie like the God of this world, like the enemy. The enemy is a father of lies. He tried to appear as an angel of light. That's why you got to trust God. In these days, Jesus said it's going to be backstabbers. It's going to be people that ain't going to care nothing about you. People don't do nothing but care nothing about themselves. We hear rumors of fires. We hear rumors of break-ins. We hear rumors of parents killing their kids killing their parents, adults doing things to little children, you know? Break-ins, you know, carjackings, murders. We hear about all this stuff. Jesus predicted it. So you may have to go through some hard times, but if you a follower of Christ, expect persecution, expect some trials, because your faith is going to be tested. You know, we are not above, the servant is not above the master. And just think about it. If Jesus carried his cross, he bared his cross, he suffered on his cross, on the cross, then we must carry our cross and bear our cross too. Yes. And we must trust God. God said the battle belongs to him. And whatever God allow us to be in, he going to give us a way of escape. Just like he gave a way of escape to Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. He gave they ended up, the guys the attendants who put them in there, they ended up burned up. And then King Nebuchadnezzar said, how many people did I put in there? They was like 3. They said, why I see 4? Because the angel of the Lord saved them. He will give you a way of escape, but you got to trust him. He trying to prepare you and get you in position. He want to get you ready for the blessing. He don't want the blessing to overtake you. He wants you to be able to deal with the blessing. He don't want it to be too much for you. And just think about Joseph. He made a way of escape. Joseph ended up in prison, prophesying to one of Pharaoh's attendants. And then when Pharaoh needed somebody to interpret his dream, then the guy at the right time remembered him and told him. And then he sent for Joseph. Then, to make a long story short, Joseph ended up being second into command to Pharaoh, just like the dream predicted, and he was above his brothers. See, you could see the end, but God, you have to go through change to get there. God had to get those impurities and those things, that immaturity and them negative thoughts and the worldly way we're living. God have to get all that out to prepare us. And just think about Abraham, when God told him to sacrifice his own son, Isaac. Abraham trusted him. He knew that he would provide. He knew that it was a purpose. He didn't question God. He took his son up there and he was ready. He told him to lay down, and Isaac laid down. Isaac could have said, Dad, what are you doing? Why you got that knife? Isaac could have got up, ran, and hauled ass and said, you are not about to stick a knife in me. I love you, but come on now. A lot of people here probably would have did the same thing if it happened to them. They probably would have got up and ran, you know. But anyway, Isaac went all the way. Isaac laid down. Abraham went all the way to rear back and come down when the angel of the Lord said, wait. Don't put a hand on that lad. God used that as faith, as loyalty. That's why he was called a friend of God, because he said, you will not hold your promised son. So I know you won't withhold nothing from me. He trusted him because he was about to do it, because God told him to. Have God told you to do something and you did it just because he told you to? If God told you to do something and you didn't want to do it because you didn't understand. See, you got to trust God. And see, Abraham, and you see, God told him to do something. Abraham didn't know what it was, but he trusted God. And you see, God made a way of escape. He provided a sacrifice for him. When the angel of the Lord told him, don't put a hand on the lad, that's when he heard something in the bushes. He said, the Lord will provide. And that place was called the Lord will provide. And you have to realize, if God tell you to do something, you have to trust him. Because God have a plan. God's ways and thoughts is not our ways and thoughts. God's ways and thoughts is higher than ours. But it would accomplish whatever he sent it to accomplish. So if you're suffering, it's for a reason. God let us suffer because, a lot of times we put our own self in stuff. But we will suffer just for following Christ. And God will allow us to suffer to get the impurities out of us, to mature us and get us ready for the blessing. That's why they have a certain age limit to drive a car. Because a 12-year-old might be big enough, but they are not mentally prepared to have a driver license at 12 years old. Now, they say that you can have go to driving school at 16 to get a license. But when you 12, you have to go through steps. When you turn 14 or 15, you got to go through steps to get that. But you can't get it, but you have to go through something. You have to be trained. You have to have class. You have to be trained, and you have to learn how to drive a car first before you get licensed. Woo, praise the Lord. So always remember, the Lord will provide. And whatever he allowed you to suffer, he will give you a way of escape. As soon he has felt that you have learned your lesson and you are ready and you are mature enough. See, a lesson is not a lesson until it is learned. So you want to know why God let us suffer? Now you know. He allowed Jesus to suffer. He is our example. And we see Jesus sitting on the right hand of God the Father because he was innocent. He took our sin upon him. He asked God one time, could you take this cup from me? And he said no. Then he just went through what he had to go through. Don't you think that hurted? A crown of thorns on his head, being nailed to the cross, hands and feet, getting whipped in his back, getting pierced on his side. Don't you think he hurted? Well, we are not too good to go through some pain for the sake of following Christ, because look what he did for us. Look at the pain that he took for us. So now is the time for you to go through your suffering, go through your trials and tribulations, learn the lessons that you need to learn, allow God to get the impurities out of you. And then you will be proved whether you have an opportunity to prove whether you a diamond, you for real, you genuine, or you're fake. You a diamond stimulant. It's up to you. God is a good God. He's faithful and he will not fail. Excuse me. Woo. These sinuses. Okay, I pray that you enjoyed this message. And remember, go on and go through what you got to go through. Don't try to get out of it. Don't let the enemy come to you and say, make you feel that you're too good to suffer. Because you're not. Jesus did it for you. Now it's your turn. Carry your cross, bear your cross, be quiet, keep your eyes and mind on the Lord so you can stay in perfect peace. Stay prayed up, stay watchful, pray each and every day, and surrender to the Lord 100% so you'll be able to resist the devil and he will flee. Ask God daily to create in you a clean and pure heart. Renew a right spirit in you that we be committed, submitted, and surrendered to you. Get your mind renewed, with the word of God. Learn the truth so the truth sets you free. The truth annuls all lies. So if you learn the truth, you can spot a lie. Okay, until next time, may the peace of God be with you. Peace.